Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. It's wonderful to be with you today as we celebrate this service of baccalaureate for our seniors, their friends, and their families. The baccalaureate service is part of our commencement tradition, but it's a different kind of celebration from the one that we will join in tomorrow. Baccalaureate provides a moment for reflection and for gratitude. It celebrates those particular parts of our students' lives here in which they did not merely learn and do, but they also made connections, took time to reflect on the meaning of things, gained a sense of vocation, and thought about what matters. Students came to these understandings, as we all do, each in their own way. Through their faith traditions, their families, their friendships, their academic learning, their world, and especially by coming together in their deepest moments of loss and in their greatest celebrations of joy. Today's ceremony is a way of expressing what has been sacred to each of our students as they have grown over these 4 years. I would like to thank all of the students who are contributing to today's baccalaureate, as well as our interim director of religious and spiritual life, Aaron Guzman, who created this beautiful and powerful service. Our service is broadly reflective of the diversity of this class. Now, for many people, a sacred gathering that brings together many different faiths may be unfamiliar. It's still quite a rare thing in this world for people of different religions and of no religion to share an occasion of prayerful reflection. That makes the fact that we do it here all that much more important. And indeed, it is its own reason for gratitude. I hope that you enjoy this service, and especially in this difficult time when so many are isolated and afraid, that this service offers you a chance for reflection and for peace. I know that it will bring all of us gratitude for the gifts that these wonderful seniors have been to all of us, and for all that they will do in the world after they graduate.
Good afternoon, Worcester community. My name is Aaron Guzman, pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm the interim director of religious and spiritual life, filling the role of the chaplain here at the college. I am grateful that you've joined us today, virtually from wherever you are in the world, to recognize, honor, and celebrate the class of 2020 at this interfaith baccalaureate service. Thank you for your love and support of our students and community, especially during this difficult season. Know that any measure of care and kindness you extend is truly appreciated. And we hope that same spirit of togetherness can be felt here today, even through this virtual space. With that, I invite you to join me in a call to mindfulness, participating in whatever way is most comfortable for you. Spirit of life, we gather across time and space today, bringing the fullness of ourselves and our traditions, whatever they may be, our feelings and longings, our stories and hopes. We acknowledge the bittersweetness of celebrations that are not the same this year. Despite many changes and challenges, may we draw closer to one another. May we quiet our restless hearts and minds and lift up our students and our whole community. May we be encouraged and not forget all that has been planted and all that will grow. Amen. I'd now like to invite you to observe a moment of silence for all those affected by COVID-19.
Please join me in a prayer for compassion. Let us remember that life does not stop during lockdowns and social distancing. There are still birthdays, anniversaries, and graduations to be celebrated. There are people who are ill, dying, or who have died. There are people who are grieving the loss of a loved one and experiences that were long hoped for. We offer our presence in whatever way it may be needed in a particular moment. May our words and actions be filled with sincerity, compassion, and honesty. May our newfound practices of communication be intimate, as the distance makes our presence that much more desired. We long for another person's presence as we expectantly wait for that text, letter, or phone call. May we turn to patience as we wait for words from loved ones and become more open about asking for what we need in this time. Feelings of fear, anger, and anxiety weigh heavily upon the minds of those who are the most affected by and those who are worried over losing their privilege amidst this pandemic. Being restricted to certain spaces is not a comfort and/or safe for everyone. May we think of those who call out to be heard and those who wish to be seen. Those whom we have labeled as essential are risking their lives to provide for humanity's basic needs. This care for others is from the depths of stewardship for humanity, as well as push and pull factors that result from systemic injustices. We are observing how state and federal legislation are protecting the well-being of the privileged, some of whom are beginning to understand what those who most vulnerable experience on a daily basis. Earning less than a living wage, living paycheck to paycheck, purchasing what is necessary for an individual share, relying on childcare and school for children to socialize and for guardians to be able to work. Being a caregiver, not being able to be with or see loved ones, limited access to health care. Remember to think of and see the people who are affected by these injustices daily, outside of and during this time. Let us witness the healing and resiliency of the earth. The earth has provided for us, but we have not provided for it out of greed for our species' survival. May our appreciation of its abundance grow during this time. People are taking more walks and observing how nature offers a consistent presence for us to enjoy. May we become more mindful of how we will treat the earth, for the interdependence of all living things is how the world keeps moving. There is potential in the goodness that is rising from this time of upheaval. May we not stop our adamant call for justice. To those of you who speak about being more socially conscious, do not back down from that commitment when this passes over. May our lives be transformed by community efforts to provide for those who are most vulnerable. May love prevail.
Aloha from Kauai, class of 2020. My name is Kimberly Hope McDonough, and I am a graduate of the class of 2017. I'm honored to be able to share one of my original songs called Shine for your virtual baccalaureate program. This song is a reminder that we all have a bright light to shine within each of us. As you transition into the next chapter of your lives, I hope the music inspires you to be the best people that you can be, to share your gifts and talents with the world, and most importantly, to spread love and light to others, even in dark times like these. One of my favorite quotes sums up the message of this song. Quote, "Happiness can be found in the darkest of times, if one only remembers to turn on the light." Unquote. Albus Dumbledore from the Harry Potter series. Please enjoy Shine. Congrats, class of 2020. Keep shining.
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
This is an extremely popular verse of the Bhagavad Gita. The literal translation is, "You have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, nor be attached to inaction." The verse gives 4 instructions regarding the science of work. 1. Do your duty, but do not concern yourself with the results. 2. The fruits of your actions are not for your enjoyment. 3. Even while working, give up the pride of doership. And 4. Do not be attached to inaction.
God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth give way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Nations are in uproar. Kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice. The earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, "Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress.
Hi, my name's Hannah Sullivan. I'm a member of the class of 2020, and I'm a Reformed Jew. Today I'm going to be reciting a prayer of healing for you, titled the Misha Bera. So generally when this is done, the Torah is out, so our Holy Scroll is out, and the congregation, the service participants, are given an opportunity to think of a name, multiple names, or a group of people that they would like to send this healing prayer to. The healing prayer is very holistic. It's not meant for just the physical body. It can be the physical body or the spiritual mind. So I would like to give you a moment to think of any name that you would like to send this healing prayer to. It can be multiple names, a group of people. Hold that to you and I will read it. Misha Berach Avotenu, Mikor Habracha Li'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu, Mikor Habracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with Rafuach Shleimach, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Congratulations, class of 2020, and may we all find peace and blessings in our lives.
Greetings, class of 2020. I would like to offer a visual reflection that acknowledges how our interactions through thought and action with our surrounding environment manifest our interpretations of our lived experience. I have been in various circumstances in which I have feelings similar to those in the past. I am given space to allow myself to process and develop a deeper understanding of what I have learned about how I think of, feel towards, and relate to myself, others, and the world around me. To begin, I would like us to look up at the sky in Caught in Abundance. The sky is vast. It is simultaneously an actor and a witness to all that happens within each moment on the earth. Its vastness and activity may leave us in awe, or it may frighten us as we understand our smallness compared with the universe. Our lives, like the sky, can abruptly shift from one state of being to another. A storm is on its way. The sky darkens to a deep navy blue, with streaks of black as dark gray clouds roll in. There is a low rumbling cry as thunder begins to voice its presence. The rain starts in a light drizzle and then downpours. There are times when we may become overwhelmed with our responsibilities and promises that contribute to life's complexity in all of the decisions we make. This is part of divine beauty throughout chaos, acknowledging our capabilities and seeing people and places as they are. Then, after moments of chaos, the rain lightens and the sky begins to clear, a moment of calm after the storm. We are given a moment of clarity. As we sit in the stillness, we listen for the divine. I have experienced stillness and distance in the desert, and I invite you to experience this with me in the image, life blooms within the cracks. The land is dry, cracked from what would be thought of as a lack of care and nourishment. This setting appears deprived of water, the source of life. The sand is treated as if it was nothing, as the wind carries it over the surface of the earth. However, life is vibrant. There is a rare, surprising glimpse of flowers in bloom. Their brightness contrasts with the warm, muted-colored sand. They pull from reservoirs that they have created in their roots, stems, and leaves to sustain themselves in times when they cannot immediately get what they need. Thousands of years ago, people wandered in the desert, and I am sure they experienced feelings similar to our own when we feel deprived. But they depended on one another and the divine as they held on to hope and faith that there was something better waiting ahead. Life is unpredictable and moments are temporary. Like the sand, we are lifted from times that no longer beneficially serve us. Like the flowers, we are still growing in times when we learn how to depend on and transform what we have been given. There is room for new transformations. We have gathered more of who we are and our strength during times of being overwhelmed and times of deprivation, each involved choice. This knowledge will guide us through our last image in this time together, greetings and partings. We come to a stream and we walk alongside it. After becoming comfortable listening to its voice and following its steady, straight path, we come to a point where it diverges into different directions. We have been caught off guard from the known, predictable course by an offering of alternate routes. The divine is steady in its presence as the world continually shifts. We lose sight of its presence when the easiest, most convenient way of living is disrupted. However, notice that the flowing movement of the stream continues. Our minds thought it had stopped because our expectations were not upheld. No matter how much planning we do, it does not prepare us for the divine's gradual or abrupt nudge in another direction. A direction that we may not have anticipated, but one that may have to be taken. I believe, and I find that I'm trying to convince myself of this more often, that we end up where we need to be. Our callings in life come from internal instinct and external influence. The divine is here in this moment, now and in every moment in the past and moving forward. We have paused at the stream because we are uncertain of which path is best to follow. I encourage you to be intuitive, trust yourself, and remember that the divine acts in surprising ways. One, some, or all of these paths may intersect again in the future. You will gain wisdom along whatever path you take, and you will experience being with people and in places you never imagined. Remember the divine's love and your ability to make choices and be your best selves. Thank you, class of 2020, for your dedication to one another during our time at and beyond Worcester.
Graduates, friends, and community members, thank you for being here, wherever here is for you in this moment. Thank you for taking time to co-create this occasion with us, just by tuning in. While in some ways this is very exciting that we get to do our first ever baccalaureate service virtually, we know nothing can truly replace an in-person gathering. There is something unique about being physically present and the ways in which our senses are engaged with our surroundings and each other. And I am so deeply sorry that this year we are unable to experience all of that in the same way. Like many of you, I share feelings of grief and disappointment about how our school year has ended. It feels as though we've lost something, and that's because we did. We lost our ability to gather, to share meals, to give hugs and say goodbyes. We lost our ability to find closure in the ceremonies and rituals that help give us a bookend to the journeys that began in the fall of 2016. And I do want to say that there is no shame in feeling that grief, even when we know there are so many other things in this world that are grievable right now. Regardless of the nature of the losses, whether specific or more ambiguous, our socio-emotional responses are the same. There is no hierarchy of grief, especially when we are experiencing a global trauma and a complete paradigm shift that touches every corner of our existence. So I want to extend this invitation to self-compassion. If you are in a space of feeling like your grief is trivial, or that it doesn't matter as much as someone else's, try to let go of that shame or guilt. Unclench your jaw, breathe slowly and deeply, for your experience matters just the same as anyone else's. Be gentle with yourself and your heart, and try to find rest where you can. The college landscape is full of ritual and ways of making meaning. Some of those things are explicitly religious and spiritual in nature, and others mimic similar patterns and ways of ordering time or making sense of it. As Dr. Varun Soni, Dean of Religious Life at the University of Southern California, said recently on a panel discussing how we think about religious life on campuses during a pandemic, he asked, "What is commencement?" It's ritual, it's pilgrimage, it's the intergenerational transmission of values, it's celebrating ecstasy, it's being with family, it's thinking of we, not me, it's being part of a reality greater than yourself, and it's acknowledging a life stage. Perhaps this is why there's so much grief around missing these moments this year and not getting to share them fully with the people we love and care about. Rituals, readings, ceremonies, and observances help tell the story of our human experience and existence by memorializing life stages and transitions, making tangible that which otherwise is perhaps more abstract. Through repeated actions and liturgies done in community with shared values, we are able to see a deeper significance in our experiences. Our end of the year celebrations function in this same way, and so it makes sense that we would feel some grief or sadness or disappointment when we can't participate in the ways we had hoped or have always known them to be. So what do we do then in moments like this, when our ability to gather and affirm and celebrate is not possible in the same way? How do we mark our time with the same kind of significance as we did before? How do we adapt to new ways of being and doing when this shift, in so many ways, was not our choice? How do we practice hope in this season when there are still so many unknowns ahead of us? One of the skills that I picked up in my undergraduate classes in religious studies that I honed in a deeper way in seminary was the ability to respond to hard questions with more hard questions, much to the frustration of my instructors and peers, I can assure you. But it's often the case that our human existence is quite complicated, and there isn't always a single or clear-cut answer. As a chaplain, I'm drawn to those spaces with others, being in the midst of transition, taking a posture of accompaniment. Because we all experience these threshold moments where we have to adjust and pivot and make a way out of what appears to be no way. And we must reckon with all the feelings that come with that process. From the perspective of my tradition, I would call that the messy work of faithfulness, which is to say, in spite of all the difficulties and the really hard stuff, we are nudged forward and we carry on even when it feels like there are lead weights in our shoes. This is no easy task, friends, and I resist the temptation to run into the arms of a naive optimism during this time of immense difficulty. We have to name the tensions and the depths of this season, honestly, making space for our collective grief, while also holding on to all of the things that fuel us and keep us going. One of the blessings of this time of remote and virtual connecting, if we can think about it that way for a moment, is that we now have the ability to reconsider what is and isn't possible. Perhaps there were certain barriers to access for people in our communities that are now able to fully participate. We have a unique opportunity to reimagine the things we've always done and consider how they function in similar ways, but now take a slightly different form so that we can be more inclusive and welcoming of others seeking connection and purpose. Perhaps we now have a deeper appreciation and respect for the parts of our traditions and observances that previously felt so insignificant. It's often the case in moments of crisis that our personal and collective priorities are revealed, which provides wisdom and perspective that can inform our collective next steps for the good of the whole. Perhaps this is a season where we prune back some branches that were preventing us from really connecting with one another. We can let go of some pride and take up a posture of humility, understanding that this pandemic has affected us all, and we're doing our best to get through each day. All of that, however, doesn't change the fact that our graduates, who we love and care about so much, are moving on and into a space with many, many unknowns. It feels so unfair, and I struggle to find words that are substantive and fully adequate to express all that is being felt right now. What I do know is that each of you in the class of 2020, you have taken an incredible journey to here, and you made it. Over your 4 years here, seeds have been carefully and lovingly sown. Seeds that are already springing up with beautiful and tremendous growth. And these seeds aren't ones that will wither. They have been planted deep with strong and sprawling roots. The lessons and the knowledge they bear will show up in your lives year after year, season after season. And you'll remember that they came to you while you were here at Worcester. Not just while you were in your classes or doing internships, but in every moment. Spending time in the pit, packing the arch with snow, being with friends in Old Main and Kittredge, spending late nights in Mom's, watching movies in your dorms, waiting patiently for your carol selection, building community at Common Grounds, the UG, through sports or clubs, on your floor, in your major. Those moments shape us and build our resilience as people. Resilience isn't a measure of physical strength or a test of how much pain you can take before it gets to be too much. Resilience is about leaning on the collective wisdom and support of a community and trusting that you don't have to do it alone. Personal resilience is definitely a thing, but there is another layer to what we're talking about here. Resilience is a call to action that is rooted in relationship. And that's one of the very special things that I love about working in spiritual and religious communities, but that is present in all communities as well. Our ability to form and maintain connections with others keeps us going, especially during crisis and transition and hard times. As we find and make meaning throughout our lives, our foundations and our roots get stronger. Regardless of the specific paths on which we walk, our fortitude and capacity to handle obstacles is planted and shaped by how we show up in others' lives. And I invite us to think about how we do that now in this time and space, when showing up physically might not be possible in the ways we want it to be for quite some time. We are in a unique threshold moment where there is potential to use creative new energies to nourish our roots and ourselves. This is where considering our rituals and practices may help us. Regardless of if you are a spiritual or religious person, there are rituals and habits that we do and engage with every day to help us process and make sense of our experiences, and those are all very important and valid. If you do come from a specific tradition that speaks to you and is a source of your comfort, maybe you're already thinking about how to adapt certain practices into new modes and ways of engaging. In what ways can we reimagine parts of our traditions and spaces to help us be more present emotionally with each other? What would it look like to have virtual iftar dinners, Shabbat services, Bible studies, prayer circles, support groups? How can we find inspiration in sacred or meaningful texts and lean into our communities of support or create new ones? What would assurance and peace look and feel like for you right now as we practice the very intentional art of patience and hope? What is it you need most in this season? No matter your path, remember that you are rooted and resilient people. We have come this far, and a new journey stretches out ahead of us. Trust that what's been planted in you already is just the beginning of an incredible bounty, and do not be afraid to share it. Know that wherever you are in the world right now, and wherever you go, you'll be surrounded by a community that has your back and believes in you. May all of this be so. Amen. I invite you to join me in saying the Unison prayer. Spirit of life, in this time of great uncertainty, grief, frustration, and perhaps numbness, we gather together in a posture of compassion with a desire to find comfort and community. Though we are physically scattered in many places all over the world, we need not feel distance in our relationships and connections to one another. We acknowledge where there is or has been pain and deep sorrow, but know that that cannot and will not define the entirety of our existence. We also acknowledge our past and present joys, and where there are unexpected pleasures and opportunities for growth in our lives. Today, we hold precious space for gratitude, celebration, accomplishment, and hope. Fill each graduate with pride and encouragement. Remind them daily of the seeds that have been planted in their lives while here at Worcester, and the lessons and love that have taken root, and all that will come in each season of growth and harvest. May we work to create a more just and equitable world where the dignity and worth of all people is fully realized. May we be inspired to seek peace and purpose, to practice kindness, and to see our integrity and passions as good and worthy gifts to share. May your guiding presence be with us now and always. Amen.
Hello, my name is Rainier, and I'll be leading a short meditation. But first, I'd like to share 2 thoughts. Amidst everything that is going on, it's easy to focus on all of the things that have been taken away from us, rather than the things that have been given us. But one thing that quarantine has given us is time. It's not often that we have this much time with ourselves. In fact, this might be the longest amount of time that any of us will ever spend with ourselves. So I'd encourage you to take this time to get to know yourself and your own unique experience of the world a little bit better. The other thought comes from a quote by David Foster Wallace and reads like this: "Almost nothing important that ever happens to you happens because you engineered it. Destiny has no beeper. Destiny leans, trench-coated out of an alley, with a soft whisper that you usually don't ever hear because you're in such a rush to or from something important that you've tried to engineer." Everything that's been going on in the world right now is like that stranger. While that stranger might have been something bad, in every other corner of our lives there will be other strangers, offering us a chance to play out our destinies in a positive way. It's our job to be present enough to notice them and decide which ones we want to follow. Now I would ask you to join me in meditation. If you have a practice of your own, you're more than welcome to follow that. If not, I would simply ask that you close your eyes and focus on your breath. Think about all of the sensations you might have in the next 2 minutes as you just pay attention to them. Now, we will start now. As you open your eyes, I'd like you to think of all the sensations you just felt. Whether it was a draft of air on the back of your hand or just the rising and falling of your chest. This is kind of what I was talking about when I was talking about getting to know yourself a little better. Thank you for listening. Now we will continue with the rest of the program.
A reading from the first letter of St. Peter. In this you rejoice, though now, for a little while, you may have to suffer various trials, so that the genuineness of your faith, more precious than gold, which though perishable is tested by fire, may redound to praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Without having seen him, you love him. Though you do not now see him, you believe in him and rejoice with unutterable and exalted joy. As the outcome of your faith, you obtain the salvation of your souls. The word of the Lord.
诗经秦风无衣。岂曰无衣，与子同袍。王于兴师，修我戈矛，与子同酬。岂曰无衣，与子同泽。王于兴师，修我矛戟，与子协作。岂曰无衣，与子同长。王于兴师，修我甲兵，与子偕行。
My name is Jamal, and today I want to share with you a verse from the Quran and a quote from the Prophet Muhammad that I find meaningful in my life. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اصبروا وصابروا ورابطوا واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون. This verse means, O you who believe, be patient and endure, and stand guard, and fear God, that you may be successful. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, try to pass your mornings and evenings in a state where your heart is free from all ill feelings, jealousy, and hatred for everyone. And remember that this is my sunnah, and he who loves my sunnah will be with me in paradise. Congratulations to the class of 2020. I wish all of you success in your future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Robert Agel, and I'm a member of the graduating class of 2020, and I am so thankful to have the opportunity to share and participate in this program today. And the piece I'd like to share with everyone is something that I heard. I was first introduced as a student on campus sophomore year at an open mic night, and it was written in 1927, and so there's some things that might resonate more with you than other parts of it, but I think that there's a little bit in it for everyone. So I hope that you find the wisdom and comfort in it that I have. And it is called Desiderata, or Things Desired in Latin, by Max Ehrmann. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for there always will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the stars and the trees. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you perceive God to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. Thank you.
As we draw this time we've shared to a close, know that we are bound together across time and space through our traditions, by our values for creating a more just and equitable world, and in the love we have for each other in this community and family. We are resilient, and we will move into seasons of transition and unknowns now and throughout our lives, and we must find ways to stay connected and grounded in courage. In that truth, I'd like to leave you with these words written by a Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Jean M. Olson. This is her blessing and benediction called Go Boldly. May you be brave enough to expose your aching woundedness and reveal your vulnerability. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change as you do. May you sing the music within you, composing your own melody, playing your song with all your heart. May you draw, paint, sculpt, sew, and create, showing the world your vision. May you write letters, poetry, biography, slogans, graffiti, the great novel, laying bare your words, whatever they are. May you love fiercely, even though your heart breaks over and over, again and again. And until the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and courage. May it be so for you, the graduates of the class of 2020, and for all of us rooting for you. Ashe and Amen.